Yes, Heather's in the hallway.
No faith.
No, I have little faith. There's a difference.
Sounds like she has really good faith.
She knows me too well.
But you're right.
Oh, kidding.
What's the after 7?
A.
You said that's a O?
A 0.
It's a holiday.
I'm great. How are you?
Very well.
So that's like a portable hotspot you got there?
Welcome to our first annual Vice Mayor Summit. You will notice a couple of changes. I'm not very tolerant, so I'll just be with you frequently. If you decide to come to the podium and talk, please keep your comments limited to the topic you're on, and do your very best not to repeat what somebody's already said. I appreciate it. Roll call, zone 1.
Present.
2. Here. I'm here. Zone 4. And the mayor is, has excused absence along with us here tonight are Scott Simpson, city attorney, Lee Everett, city administrator, and Dominique. I wish I did your last name. That's terrible.
It's all good. I'm me.
Oh, that's Dominique Hall. Okay. All right, so let's move on. We've all done the pledge of allegiance many times. If there's nobody here to do an invocation, we'll just move right on. 2, additions, deletions, or modifications. Okay, Roger, is Eric on doing the pledge? If there's someone who would like to do it verbally or voluntarily. Okay, you got one? Okay, good enough. So here, let's do the invocation by Charlene, and we'll do a business.
Heavenly Father, we come to you today asking for your guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this meeting. Help us to engage in meaningful discussion. Allow us to grow closer as a group and nurture the bonds of community. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Additions, deletions, or modifications to the agenda, anyone? Lee?
Yes. First one is item 9B, Mackenzie Road repairs. If I can pull that from the agenda, we intend to revamp that project and come back later. It's all right. City attorney suggests that we reject that bid, so rather than slower, then let's
This one.
leave it on the agenda, you can reject bids, and what we tend to do is come back with a
Oh,
new
yes.
project, take its place at a later time. There's another item, what's the other one?
What was the other one?
9E?
E.
Ordinance related to the construction of sidewalks. This particular ordinance was drafted by the city attorney based on the previous discussions. We had a workshop. Since that time, the city attorney and myself had a chance to talk with our retained attorney out of Tallahassee, whose specialty is fees and assessments and things like that. And we're not sure that our particular ordinance drafted for your consideration tonight is going to either solve the problem or enhance the situation as opposed to detract from it. So we'd like to have the discussion, but not to discuss the opportunity for adopting that particular ordinance. We're not recommending the ordinance. We do believe that a discussion at that particular time is appropriate, but not to consider the ordinance. We'll come back to you with another ordinance. We think from discussions we've had, will be new and improved. So those two items, ask you to reject the bids for Kinsey Road, which is only one bid, it should be singular, and to take off the ordinance for consideration, to leave on as a matter of discussion, the idea of sidewalks throughout the community.
You stole my thunder, I was gonna say both of those things. Okay, good, we have approval minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes. Both May 11th and May 30th from the workshop.
Motion approved by Rutledge and seconded by Sean Bishop for the approval of both sets of meeting minutes. All in favor, say aye.
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 Do you want, I was wondering if I could discuss one thing about the bills paid report though,
Go right ahead.
but that'll be further down, I'm sorry.
Well, after the presentation, you want to do the presentation first? Do we have a presentation?
No.
No presentation?
No.
Okay, then we're on consent agenda.
Make sure I have my ducks in a row here. So I was hoping to ask staff about certain bills, the city attorney fee specifically, and that is on the first page, page 1 of the expense approval report, and the sidewalk survey on page 2, the last item on Fund 1.
Are you directing that to the city administrator?
I'm sorry.
You directing those questions to the administrator?
Yes, please.
What specifically about the city attorney's bill or the other one, do you want me to comment on?
Well, the city attorney bill looked larger this month, and I was wondering if there was a reason that the cost was $13,428.40. Or if you could kind of dive in and dissect that a bit.
I would have to look at the statement. There should be a detailed statement that has everything. The last few months have been more than normal. This last month, things I can think of, we were finalizing the gym stuff, both the agreement and the application to the county that had to be submitted in at the end of last month. At the end of last month, we got that submitted. We were working with the finalizing the agreement with the Woods. Trying to think what else. Forge Camp project. We had some workshops and meetings with the developer and dealing with the new law that was adopted that came into effect. There should be a statement that lists all the different things. and it's broken down by the date,
Right,
this description of what it is and how much time was spent. And I'm just kind of trying to go off memory.
right.
But those, so, the last, not just this month, the last few months have been expensive, but those have been some reoccurring issues that I know of. I know we had our first, I don't think it was last month, but we had our first risk protection order hearing. That's where you seize a gun from somebody. That's something that we've never done before in the city. We've done that within the last couple months. It's something we've never done before. At least for Lake Ellen, I've never done that. I'm trying to think what else, if there was something major.
Does the union fall into this?
No, that last meeting was the
Right.
first time I've been
Okay.
involved with the union for a long time. So,
Okay, thank you. And then if we could dive in a little bit to the sidewalk survey.
The sidewalk survey, as you recall from one of our previous workshops, we did not have an up-to-date survey of what streets had sidewalks, what streets did not, and what sidewalks were in required major repairs. So I did retain two of our citizens in the community to literally walk 157 miles of the streets within the city and to note the condition of sidewalks, whether they're present, not present, or whether they were in good shape or deteriorating. And we have that report, and it is both in a Excel spreadsheet format and as a map that we'll use as we continue through the discussion of the sidewalks and how we go about implementing the sidewalk policy. As you know from some of our previous discussions recently, the ordinances that we deal with are somewhat contradictory, and it's caused a great deal of confusion. We want to go back and come up with a better solution. In hindsight, as we continued our investigation, we're not happy with the ordinance we presented to you this evening in the first reading. We want to delve into a little deeper. There's so many issues. There's the construction activities could be coming in the next several years for stormwater and water. We're make sure we don't put in fresh sidewalks and then tear them up 2 weeks later. And there's also the issue of are sidewalks appropriate in every section of the community. Some parts of the community have advocated for bridle paths as an example, because it's horse country. So we want to permit bridle paths, and so how does that deal with sidewalks? And how do you pay for sidewalks? Now, there are certain areas of the city, namely the platted subdivisions, the Woods and Faith Grove, where those sidewalks are already part of the approved development order, so they're not affected by this discussion. But the application of the law in previous years, going back a number of years, has not been equally applied to the community. So we really have, I'm trying to think of a better word than mess. It's probably a good word for it. We have the application of laws in various stages of compliance, and we just don't have a good handle on it. And because of all that, we want to get a base map of our current situation, so to be able to say, here's how many we have this, here's where we are with this, here's where we have sidewalks, here's where we don't have sidewalks.
So did we have a contract with this talent, or how did we acquire this talent for
We,
this position?
During the Hurricane Ian debris collection, we hired a number of people we call monitors, and they were with the crews that were picking up the debris. It's required, if you really want to justify the reimbursement process by FEMA, they simply won't take your word for it. You picked up X number of cubic yards of material, so we hired monitors. We hired approximately, I would say, 6 or 7 monitors who worked on that process. 2 of those monitors I found to be very efficient, very reliable, very talented, and they are the ones I went to, not only for this project, I've used them in the past for other projects where we had a discrete project for them to report back on. And that's exactly what they did. So I can't call them a contractor because they're just citizens, but we agreed on a per hour cost, and they did what I asked them to do. And so we have that result.
Part-time labor,
I'm sorry.
part-time labor.
You can call them that, yeah.
Okay.
They
For
were
the Reader Digest version, you hired a couple of people to do a survey of all the sidewalks in the community, tell us where they were, where they weren't, and what was wrong.
Yeah, it was specific only to that topic and only to that part of the topic.
Is that sufficient?
I think I'm satisfied for now. Thank
Okay, all right.
And the one thing I'd also add, looking at the statement, flipping through it, the sidewalk issue has taken up a lot of time last month. But, we had a workshop on it, I had meetings with Taylor Troy, so it's a meeting, on-site meeting, and then trying to come up with, after our workshop, coming up with a new ordinance and regulations, and to try to address the issue, which we'll talk about later. But the sidewalk issue was a lot of the time lost, a significant amount of time.
Anyone else? Nancy, do you want to question something on the expense report?
I do, I need some more.
Go ahead.
Nancy Weary for 35 West Delaware. Nancy Weary for 35 West Delaware. I have a couple of questions. One of them is, why was that opportunity, and I've heard this from other people in the community, why that opportunity was not given to other people to apply for that position, because it is a good chunk of money. That's one thing. The second thing is, I'd like to know why we're paying Ernie Peterson $1,200 or $1,000 a month. We've been doing this for about a year and a half, and who is that and what is that for?
I gave you the scenario of how we hired our monitors. We really went out to the community to hire the monitors, and either individuals have responded to that first challenge, and we simply incorporated this particular assignment into those who already had the quote on board, if you will. Ernie Peterson is a retired staff member of the Volusia County Property Appraiser's Office, retired from them. He works for about 10 other cities on the same basis as we retain him. He is our go-to person for any issues dealing with properties. He monitors all of the properties within the city for both assessment purposes and for ad valorem tax purposes. Keeps the current record monthly on what our tax value increase will be for the next year. Coming up, it's just at 13% increase in valuation, taxable valuation. And that comes not only from new construction, but also from individuals selling their properties and Save Our Homes not being applicable anymore to those properties. But he is our person to go to any questions on property appraisers or assessment activities. He's the one that represents us before the property appraiser. It is a service that is absolutely
For 30 years. Ernie was made at the administrative level as far as expenses. The process.
Been over a year and a half.
Motion to approve the expense report. Can I get a motion to approve the expense report? Basically, it becomes 7 million, that's all.